Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and a man who's a former military man. He was discovered by X Factor after falling sick and on leave learnt how to sing. He then made the auditions and had everybody in tears. He's also got a tattoo with your name on his bum. How nice. Jay James was one of the big stars of X Factor this year, and I'm delighted to say he joins us on the phone now. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
What it must be like to be you. For a start, the ladies think you're a nice bit of trouser and delicious. On tour, you've got a great singing voice, and you're about to pack 8,000 or 10,000 people every night for the next few weeks on the X Factor tour. It's not bad, is it?
Oh, mate, I've got to say, I'm absolutely blessed at the moment. You know, it really is amazing. You know, we played Bournemouth last night to a crowd of around 4,000 people. Dublin, 11,000 people the night before. So we're all absolutely buzzing, you know what I mean? So I couldn't be happier.
It's an extraordinary life. I mean, I've done 20 years in entertainment last year. I just turned 35, and it's an amazing feeling to stand in front of any audience, whether there's 440 or 400. But then when you go into the thousands, how do you keep your bottle and not just lose it?
I mean, I approach it with a real excitement, if I'm honest with you. You know, in just like you said, you know, I performed to crowds of, you know, 4, 5, 10 people. So to me now, to be blessed with so many different people, it's just about giving, you know, just as much energy and love to what you do. So I love it, mate. I tend not to really get that nervous. I just get excited.
It's the best way to do it, because if not, it'd be totally intimidating, wouldn't it, if you actually thought about all of those opinions judging you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I do think you get a lot from the show. I think the show itself, performing on the show on a Saturday night, when you think it goes out in front of millions of people, and essentially, you know, the next 3 minutes before you step out on that stage is going to really dictate where your career goes and what you do for the rest of your life. And I think that's really set you up. But the live situation is completely different. I mean, this is music, you know, and you've got to connect with it initially in order to hopefully other people too. So I don't ever forget that, you know what I mean, when I got, you know, it's great to get such a reception.
I always think live TV, especially, and radio, is such a strange beast, because you're talking to far more people than you ever could in an arena or in a live event. But somehow you get used to the studio and you just think of it as that. Is that what you had to do on those sort of last few shows of X Factor? Completely block out the fact that there are millions of people behind the camera and you're just playing to that room?
Absolutely. It's such, I mean, for me, in the style of music and what I do, I initially just try and find the connection within the lyrics that I'm singing. You know, I try and choose songs that I'm really, really going to connect with, and that I can primarily connect to myself. And I find, you know, someone once said to me, you know, you should never really try and sell music. Your music should be to buy. And I always really took that on board in performing and everything that I do. I think that's what music is about. You've got to find that connection. You've got to find that love to sing and let other people, you know, hopefully enjoy it themselves. So that's what I do when I sing, whether it be on TV, radio, or, you know, in front of the thousands that we're doing at the moment. And it seems to be working. So
there seems to be no rhyme or reason who gets through and why they get through anymore. From Stevi to you, to completely different acts, you can find yourself in the same final together, being judged between each other, and those four will decide whether you go through or not. It's a strange competition, isn't it? Because you've got the loose cannons that are there for entertainment, and then the legitimate artists who are seriously trying to make a career as an artist. Did you ever think you'd get through, or did you think you'd be one of those that had just sort of passed by? You were neither ridiculous nor outrageous. You were a good singer, and often good singers just don't get through.
I think my initial worries about it were, you know, is the X Factor is based around, you know, a singing voice and a personality and everything else. And, you know, I did music before I went on the show. You know, I write my own music, I produce. So that was one thing that I was worried that it would never come across, because it's just about my singing. And, you know, there's confidence issues where you think, you know, is my singing voice enough, you know, to sing other people's songs? Because I never really did that, to be honest. You know, I sang probably 2-3 covers before I went on the show. You know what I mean? I write my own music, so that was definitely a worry of mine. But you know, when I went into the first audition, I had such an amazing reaction from, you know, Simon specifically and the other judges. That really instilled a lot of confidence that, you know, I could just go out, I could sing someone else's song with the thought of me connecting to it, and it came off. And it wasn't really until boot camp where I was actually introduced to Stevi, and we got a bit of a bond where he just had the time of his life on stage, and I thought to myself, you know, as a performer and as a musician, what I try and do is obviously create a form of escapism for myself, but also the listener. You know, to escape whatever they're thinking, to sit down, put the CD on, and just, you know, just relate and escape from stuff. Well, that's exactly what Stevi did for me. Yeah. I was just about to go and do the first audition, probably the biggest thing that I'd done in my life. And for the 2 minutes that I watched him perform, he gave me that escapism, and my whole thing changed, and our perception on the show changed, because, you know, Stevi is actually a brilliant entertainer. And I loved that. That. And, you know, I think he was rightly, you know, to be in the competition.
Well, I think X Factor proves we'd rather have a big personality who doesn't take themselves too seriously than an amazing singer that does. We just don't seem to like that, do we?
No, that's it. And I think, you know, certainly the X Factor is a vehicle for that. It's entertainment, it's a TV show, and that's what you bring, you know, in comparison to maybe someone like Sam Smith or Adele, who we too, you know, a more serious artist that we too tend to listen to, you know. So it's all about finding that balance. For me, you know, I've been blessed with an incredible platform now for me to obviously not take anything for granted and get back in the studio and get back to real music and hopefully can establish myself in that way.
The only thing that does worry me about X Factor is it is an entertainment show that is manipulated by Psycho, by ITV, by Simon Cowell, and you're left at the end trying to live a life and forming a career, as we saw this week with Sam Bailey. It's very difficult, isn't it, to survive in this business. Does that worry you, or do you just live for every day?
I live for every day. You know, I think the manipulation thing is a strong word coming from, obviously, you know, being in it and stuff. I mean, they're making a TV show, so naturally things need to be edited down and there needs to be a call on what needs to happen. But, you know, without it, where would you be? You know, and I, you know, again, a question towards me going onto the show initially was, you know, there's very few people now making it outside the use of featuring on other people's tracks. Yeah. You know, they're looking to get their own line. I was signed by a major record label, and, you know, I got on This Morning, and, you know, and that was like the biggest thing that I did, which was amazing in front of maybe, you know, people. As a, you know, an artist that entered the X Factor, went on the X Factor, my first audition went out to 10 million people. So you've got to ask where, you know, what's going on with the industry at the moment, and you know, I certainly look to try and embrace that. And you know, it's tough anyway. It's tough whatever you do, whatever you know, thing you're doing. So you know, you've got to work hard. And I think a lot of people, you know, in history sort of come off the show and maybe take for granted that they think they're a celebrity and that will get them by. But it's not. It's like anything. You've got to work your ass off to try and find your light, to try and find people that can connect to you and you know, get your music out there. And
I always say there's one Beyonce and 10 million people trying to be her, and that's the reality of the business, isn't it?
It is. So, you know, it's a shame. You know, it's a shame to hear such things. You know that, you know, about Sam, because she's an incredible vocalist. But there's no doubt in my mind that she'll continue to sell records independently or with other record labels or do whatever. You know, it's just because.
It is baffling, though, isn't it? Why you would get a #1 album and then get dropped is confusing. And I think it's about what type of artist they want. And again, you're probably more in her bracket than you are in sort of the Stevi bracket, that you are a legitimate artist trying to do proper music created by yourself. And that might not be under the banner of the commercial stuff that Cal's looking for. For you, is it just about performing now and doing it live? Because that you can earn a good living doing that with Profile, can't you?
Since I got off the show, you know, there was days within I got off the show and I put myself back into the studio because, you know, it's important for me to get back into that creative space really, really quickly. And, as you say, just get back to music, get back to creating music. And for me now, that's exactly what it's about. I want to create a record. I believe now the industry is very much led by a singles market where they want to release one single and get a quick hit or whatever else and then release an album. But for me, I want to, very much like my first album, I want to create a body of work which I would be proud to listen to from top to bottom, and I would hope other people would too. I think, the likes of people like Rebecca Ferguson have done that really well. His first record was a body of work. I was blessed to support her, and I was extremely surprised by the quality of that record. And I see myself, very much in that line now. I want to create an album that I'm happy with, and hopefully that real music listeners and fans of the show as well would buy into and appreciate.
So when can you be you again? I mean, you've been involved in this juggernaut of X Factor for nearly a year now, and you've got the big tour, the arena tour. It's coming all over the country. You can find out about those tour dates by going to gigsandtours.com or just put in X Factor Tour on the internet and find out. I'll see you in Nottingham on Sunday, by the way. Looking forward to that. When are you released and able to do your own gigs and all that stuff? Because there comes a point when you can be you again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, again, like, I tried to be myself throughout the whole of the show, you know what I mean? But, in respect to my own music and stuff, I've been in straight away, writing and stuff. So, there's initial contracts where, they've got the option if they would like to sign and stuff. And so, we're in discussions with certain people and labels and different things to what I'm going to do. But I'm looking to get on it really, really quickly,
Good.
This tour is obviously my priority at the moment, and loving it. But you'd be daft not to be looking at your own thing, you know what I mean, and get your own thing going on, and that's exactly what I'm doing, And it's great it's nice to be back in. When you're in the X Factor, you're in a bubble very much. You know what I mean? We're around really creative people this year on the show. The contestants all are really creative. And, we get on all so well, like a little family, So to step back into that bubble, when you come off the show, it's like you come out of that very quickly and you found in the reality. So to come back into that again, and again to be performing in front of the thousands of people that have really, really appreciated you and enjoyed you and stuff like that is such a lovely, lovely feeling. The crowds have been immense, mate. I mean, you'll see, in Nottingham, it's just a really, really great show to be part of. It's like being part of a really great lineup, and you gotta love that, So
let's talk about life on the road then. How glamorous is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, are there busty babes banging on your door trying to get in the middle of the night in 5-star hotels? What's it like?
Do you know what? It's nuts. I didn't quite expect the hype of it all. If I'm honest, we've got an incredible security team here, and very early they were briefing us about fans and outside the hotels and stuff like that, and it really is quite surreal. We're escorted outside back doors and sort of all sorts of things, and it is quite crazy. But I kind of love tour life naturally. I miss my wife and baby girl, but it's the bigger picture now. I'm doing what I love to do in front of thousands of people that enjoy me doing it.
And I guess the pride when they get to see you is beyond words.
That's it, that's it. There's a lot of hard work and gone into all of this. I did my second song the other day in Dublin, and I had to man up because I literally I felt so overwhelmed, almost tears, and that sounds really cheesy and cliche, but I've been trying to do this for a minute now, a few years, and to get in front of an audience of 11,000 people who are on their feet after a song that I sing, it was just incredible. So, it's great.
And again, for any artist to have that size of stage with that level of lighting and sound and the crew and all of the scenery and all that stuff must be thrilling. I mean, to have that pin focus all on you, whether it be for 4 minutes or 40 minutes, is such a privilege.
It is. It really is, mate. We've got, and I'm not just saying this, but we've got the best team of people here. We've got incredible dancers, an incredible production staff, your creative director, Beth, absolutely smashed it out the park. and everyone's doing this to make it the best show on the road at the moment, you know. So to be a part of that, you know, especially the person that gets in front of the spotlight is a real privilege, you know. And it's not happening nowadays, you know. There's very few artists that are coming out and performing in front of arena audiences.
Yeah.
So to do that, especially with my background in being, you know, and toured in front of people and spent my own money to get in front of people, you know, now I'm being paid to have the, you know, privilege to perform. It's you know, it's life changing. It is.
Yeah.
That's mean, you know, that's real talk. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
Well, you deserve to be there. You're a true artist. The X Factor Tour is on the road now. You can catch it all over the country. Find out more by going to gigsandtours.com or just put in the X Factor Tour 2015. Very finally, who's misbehaving on tour? Any gossip I need to know about, Jay?
Not at the moment. We're early doors yet.
Come on, there must be some shenanigans.
Well, no, it's all good. Honestly, it's all good at the moment. We're all enjoying each other's company. And as soon as the gig finishes, we all sort of get back to the hotel bar and have a few beverages together. But no one's being naughty at the moment. We've got quite a strict security and tour manager who's leading the way.
Yep.
That's keeping us in line, keeping us in check at the moment. So we're all good.
And I guess, regardless of the showbiz side of it, you've got to put on a show. And if you can't speak and you can't sing, you can't do the show, can you?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. You know, good people are paying good money to come and watch us, and you know, that's how we all sort of feel. You know what I mean? We're going to put on a show. Firstly, because we love to. Secondly, you know, because we're aware of people have paid good money to come and see, hopefully, the best show that's going on at the moment.
Jay, great to talk to you. Jay James is one of the big stars from X Factor 2015, one of the finalists that made it to the arena gigs. You can find out more at gigsandtours.com. Jay, really good to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate your support, and hello to everyone at home listening.